Guys, what's up, guys, and welcome to episode 10 of FNS Sports Media Podcast. I'm Cooper.
My name's Aaron.
All right, let's get right into it.
But before we start, so we've got a couple of things that just make us go, what?
In sports.
In sports, and one of them happened. Just this past week, and it made me and Cooper think about what are some of the weirdest things that have ever really happened in sports? So, the first one just made us think about it, and then after that, we just started thinking about what are some other really weird things. So tell us what happened last week, Coops.
So, the rest of the team was staying in I have no idea how to pronounce that.
I think it's Pfister.
Pfister Hotel. The All-Star center fielder opted for his own place because the hotel is rumored to be haunted. Some protesters rented the Airbnb, and Betts opted to stay with them, just in case any ghosts, specters, or ghouls were to appear at the
Pfister. Yeah. So let me get this straight. So Mookie Betts
He's afraid of ghosts.
is afraid of ghosts.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts is afraid of ghosts. He's so afraid of ghosts that instead of staying at the hotel with the rest of the team, he got an Airbnb somewhere else. Man, I'll tell you what. That guy would. I don't care if he's an all-star. I don't care if he's an MVP candidate. I don't care. You get a separate place from the rest of your team because you're afraid of ghosts. Man, if I was a member of the Dodgers, I would never let him live that down. I mean, what? Come on now, man. Come on.
It's that doesn't make any sense.
There's no way the hotel's haunted. No way.
It's just rumors and just they spread.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. When Anthony Rizzo struck out Freddie Freeman, that's the third time in the expansion era since 1961 that a position player who has already been an all-star strikes out another all-star.
Okay, Freddie Freeman, great hitter. Everything else, Anthony Rizzo, just a position player pitching, strikes out. Sure, it's a little bit embarrassing, but what's more embarrassing, really, though? Is it more embarrassing to get struck out by a position player, or is it worse for your team to be getting smoked so bad that you have to put a position player in to pitch? It's sure, Freddie Freeman struck out and got struck out by a position player, but what's Rizzo doing pitching in the first place? It's because his team was getting blown away.
And also, it's kind of hard because, when you're saying 100 miles an hour and then you go down to 60, that's a tough play. It's there's this game I play, and it's the pitchers, they have, all different kinds of pitches, and then they'll pitch a fastballs, and then, every once in a while, you'll get an exclamation pitch, and, it's just a super slow fastball, and, I either miss it or it's gone because, the exclamation points might be harder than, hitting, a curveball.
I mean, that's the thing. They say changing speeds is just as important as anything else as a pitcher. But you're probably right. It's just not coming in as fast, and they're just not used to it.
Yeah.
Funny, sad, kind of pathetic, but at the same time, it is what it is.
All right. This one. Looking to trade down from pick number 7 in the first round, the Vikings apparently forgot they had a draft clock, which ran out on them. The Jacksonville Jaguars and Carolina Panthers, picking 8th and 9th, quickly made their selections before the Vikings even realized what had happened. They finally did make the selection, but when you get clowned on by the Jaguars, your franchise really should be just folded altogether.
Yeah, that's the key part right there. It's when the Jaguars make you look, or when you make the Jaguars look competent. I mean, that's on you, man. That's just pathetic. Sure, they wanted to trade down, but you actually have to make the trade, right? So they ended up trading down from 7 to 9 without getting anything in return, just because they couldn't even decide on who they wanted. That is just so stupid.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of stupid, this one's just silly. Earlier in the fourth quarter of a midseason game against the Panthers, Minnesota Vikings quarterback Brad Johnson dropped back to pass deep in Carolina territory. His throw was batted down by a Panthers lineman directly back into Johnson's hand. Thinking quickly, Johnson bolted for the suddenly wide open end zone. players don't have to be consequential to be extremely interesting.
So he completed a touchdown pass to himself. That's
A ball whips you
right back to him. And
in a boomerang.
one, he had to be thinking quickly, and two, it had to have been a wide open end zone because Brad Johnson was not exactly the fastest quarterback when he played. So, just being able to think quickly and kind of take those slow feet into the end zone is definitely memorable.
All right, mark this down as the thing we're least likely to ever see again in the NFL. Sure, ties used to be far more common in the league, but even in those standards, this was wild. In 1932, the Chicago Bears tied in 3 straight games. You'll see a linebacker take the field in a tutu before you see anything like this. It's unclear how NFL players and fans would respond to something like this now, but my guess is that it would involve heavy rioting.
I think so. I mean, I remember just last season when the Texans tied one game. I was just frustrated I was frustrated for a lot of reasons with the Texans last year, but I was just frustrated, playing for a tie, and they ended up with a tie, and people are like, hey, at least they didn't lose. I'm like, I don't even care. I mean, a tie just feels so just like, makes you feel kind of gross.
Yeah, you didn't win.
You didn't lose, but you didn't win, and it's just, if that happens 3 times in a row, that would be the worst feeling ever.
Yeah. All right, next. Hi. Welcome to the section called Sports News, and we're going to be going into some news that has been like pretty exciting over the past week or so. And the very first one should be that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to play twice in London in 2023. The first time an NFL team has done that.
Yeah, I think you can see the NFL's trying to make that effort to move a little bit more into Europe, into the European market. It kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense that if you're gonna play that many games, almost have one team play over there in back-to-back weekends like the Jaguars are going to do. It reduces travel, reduces some of that jet lag from traveling across the Atlantic Ocean. The Jaguars haven't like haven't had a history of having a whole lot of fans at their games. So sure, why not?
Yeah, like if it's gonna get more fans, why not? Another pretty big one. Another pretty big one would be the Blackhawks. They got the number one overall pick in the draft, which kind of makes sense. They definitely weren't the best team.
Yeah, I think the biggest news here is just like the Blackhawks are going to be the Connor Bedard lottery winners. He's a generational talent. Kind of sucks as a Blues fan that the best player to come out of the draft in a generation is going to go to the Blackhawks. But people have been planning for that all year, planning on who's going to win the Connor Bedard lottery. Like everybody knows he's going number 1.
Yeah.
And speaking of everybody knowing who's going number 1 overall, the NBA draft was held this week, and the Spurs of all the teams win the Victor Wembanyama draft lottery as well. Just another example.
Yeah, and like Houston sucked, and they still didn't get it.
Yep. I mean,
they were fourth too.
Yeah, it just goes to show that tanking doesn't always get you what you want. Houston ended up with the 4th pick, of course, in a draft that has 3 potential superstars in it.
Yeah. All right. Special thanks to Clutch Points ESPN and MLB.com. As always, like, subscribe, hit that bell. We'll see you guys later.